Hi and welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us through our 3 full-length videos. We have one more teensy little bonus video for you in which we sort of tie everything together.
One of the things we're most excited about doing at Intermission is applying what we work on and learn on the yoga mat to our instrument playing and what we do for so many hours a day as musicians.
Perhaps the most common thread through yoga and playing an instrument is, of course, posture. As we explored in the second video, one way to do that most effectively is through the concept of stacking. And here to revisit that and help us out with that a little bit more is Tiff.
Okay, so the most important thing about posture and why we care so much about posture is that it affects the breath. And everybody needs to breathe, especially musicians, no matter what instrument you're playing. So the main focus that we're going to talk about today, very briefly, is touch on stacking. Make sure that our canister is stacked so that the breath can be full, and then you can play your instrument to the utmost of your ability. So Elena is going to demonstrate standing, Melissa's going to demonstrate sitting.
Should we maybe first take a second to demonstrate the many ways in which we execute these postures poorly?
Sure.
I know I'm guilty of the lean and popping of the hip, for sure. There's of course the two forward on the toes. There's the jut the pelvis out.
And I basically do those same things except sitting, and so I hunch. I know when I'm really bored and tired, I sit back, and being short, that doesn't work. And then, yes, I know I lean sometimes to one side more than the other.
Okay, can you fix us?
Absolutely. So the interesting thing is that I've seen variations of these in pretty much every yoga posture. So as a yoga teacher, we are trained to kind of stack people in proper neutral alignment. Again, like I mentioned, for good breathing, good mechanics, and just for overall fluidity of the body, which is very important when you're making music. So you can do this standing or sitting. If you ladies want to do it together and just kind of adjust for whether you're sitting or standing, it can be the same way. Again, we did this in video 2, so you might want to, if you want to go back and review, feel free. This will just be a very, very quick kind of run through. So you'll start with the feet, tripod of the feet. So lift up all 10 toes and you'll feel that there's 3 main points of contact: ball of the pinky toe, ball of the big toe, center of the heel. See if you can feel those points of contact in the floor. Let the toes relax down. If your knees are bent, or excuse me, if your legs are straight and hyperextended, bend them just enough. If you're seated like Melissa here, stack your knees right over your ankles. Oftentimes we cross, we kind of tiptoe our feet like this, or you kind of kick them against the chair. Find that 90-90. And then pelvis. Oftentimes it's tilted one way forward or one way back. Exactly. Think about stacking the hips over the knees, over the ankles, keeping the tripod of the feet. And then from that bowl of your pelvis being neutral, we want to go straight up and make kind of this 360 canister of the core. So very important to widen the back of the ribs. I talked about that a lot. Back of the rib cage we want to widen, and that's very, very important for breath. The ribs have to be able to expand. We'll touch on this a lot through intermission, the retreat and the session, but having the back of the ribs wide, front of the ribs in, very, very important so that the ribs can move for proper functional breathing. And then from there, we know that your shoulders are going to do what they need to do for the instrument, so that will be adjusted as necessary. But the foundation is the feet to the ankles stacked, whether you're standing or seated. If you're standing, try to stack the rest of your body up from there. Seated, stack from your sitting bones of the pelvis up. Crown of the head can float, adjust as you need to. Again, back body nice and broad and wide, and you'll be able to feel the ground up through the head and hopefully have all the energy flowing and moving as freely as you can.
Nice. Yay!